If you clicked on this video, you're most likely thinking about getting into NoFap, or you might even already be on your NoFap journey. Wherever you may be, you're going to want to watch till the end, because I practiced NoFap for 3 years, and during this time, my past life was completely destroyed and replaced with a new one. A life that I consciously chose. And I guarantee that if you practice NoFap, the life you're living now, just like my past life, will be destroyed to make way for a new life. A life you will consciously choose as well. But before we get into the 3 reasons why NoFap will destroy your life, I'm gonna assume that everyone here knows what NoFap is, so I'm gonna skip explaining it. If you don't, I highly recommend you to click the card on screen now of my previous video on NoFap, where I explain what it is. And I also tell you about the 6 secrets I learned from practicing 3 years of NoFap and semen retention. Reason number 1. Excessive energy. Now, you might have heard that once you start practicing NoFap, you're gonna feel like you have a lot more energy than usual. This, in my experience, was 100% the case. After about 2 weeks to a month, you should start experiencing this, and over time, this only increases. After a couple months, this excessive energy state becomes normal to you though, which I call the plateau phase, and you don't notice it anymore, because you're so used to it by this point. You're probably wondering, why will having excessive energy destroy my life? Well, because it's gonna force you to change what you're doing in your life. You literally can't practice NoFap and see no changes. It's impossible. In my previous life before I practiced NoFap, I was addicted to porn, addicted to gaming, had no purpose, was anxious, insecure, and generally shy around people. But over time on NoFap, with the excessive energy I experienced, it forced me to work on myself. Because if I hadn't worked on myself, I probably would have felt worse than I did before I even started. Why would I have felt worse? Because NoFap amplifies how you feel about yourself. It's very hard to run away from your problems when they're amplified. In my opinion, that's why I was able to transform so many of my problems, because I couldn't run away from them. So if you're used to not doing much with your life, while you're practicing NoFap, you will likely go through a similar experience. You're gonna have so much energy that it basically forces you to do something with your life. And if you don't use this excessive energy to try and change things with your life, you're likely just going to be experiencing a lot of negative emotions and will probably end up relapsing. I don't say this lightly, guys, but with this excessive energy, you're gonna have to learn to channel it into positive outlets that will lead you in the direction you want to go in, or it's gonna eat you alive. For me, while I was on NoFap, I channeled my excessive energy into new hobbies that I didn't do before. Things like working out, reading books, shadow work, spirituality. I found a ton of mentors online that I resonated with, like Coach Corey Wayne, Kevin Samuels, Bob Proctor, and Stephen James, just to name a few. Beyond that though, I found my passion and what I wanted to do with my life. All of this eventually led me into personal development and learning to work on myself each and every day. In my opinion, none of this would have happened in such a short amount of time if I didn't have access to the amount of excessive energy I was feeling. I also felt like it taught me how important our sexual energy is. I mean, it's literally our life force. Think about it. We all know the feeling after we finish. When you're not finishing all the time, there's literally more of your life force present. And because there's more of you present, it's much easier to find the things you like. Reason number 2. Improved confidence. Earlier in the video, I stated how insecure and shy I used to be before NoFap. At this point, it almost feels like a dream to me, in all honesty. It was so bad I used to get anxious just doing basic tasks. I doubt if I'd be able to complete them, and I was so afraid to be perceived as incapable by others, so I would barely try anything new. Now those same thoughts never even crossed my mind. You're probably not experiencing that extreme of a scenario that I was in, but if you're experiencing anxiety, self-esteem issues, or insecurities, you definitely will be experiencing improved confidence while practicing NoFap, and even after, if you make the right changes. I do want to point out that this improved confidence you get from practicing NoFap won't last for most of you if you don't do anything to maintain it. The reason being that if you're not confident now, and you're just starting your journey, the first couple weeks, even months of successfully practicing NoFap will very likely have you on an emotional high and feeling very powerful. But this temporary boost of confidence won't last, because once you get to the plateau phase after several months of practicing, you get used to not finishing, and things in a way feel like they go back to normal. You still get the benefits of NoFap, but you're no longer getting the urge to finish anymore, or watch porn, and it becomes a lot more effortless. At this point, the issues you've always had and haven't dealt with up to this point will really start appearing in your life. You may even go through a period of feeling worse than you had before. A lot of people tend to relapse at this point. This of course only happens if you're not doing anything to work on yourself up to the plateau phase. I know I say it a lot, but you seriously need to be working on yourself if you're practicing NoFap. For those of you who do work on yourselves before you hit the plateau phase, once you get to this phase, you'll very likely be able to look back on how your life was before you started NoFap and be able to see how much growth you made in just a short span of a couple months. This is where the true improved confidence comes from, guys. This isn't the temporary confidence you get from the start of your journey, where you're on a high from just starting. This occurs because when you hit the plateau phase, you'll very likely go through a mindset shift. Your whole view of yourself will shift. And this shift happens from being able to see how much you've improved your life, being able to know that you've had the discipline to last as long as you have, being able to do something that around 90% of men probably couldn't even do. All of these internal achievements influence you and contribute to this massive shift that's going to change your life forever. Now, before we get into the third reason why NoFap and semen retention will destroy your life, if you guys are enjoying this video, make sure to give it a like so you can keep getting recommended content about this topic, and subscribe to my channel that's focused on helping you level up your life and reach your highest potential. Reason number 3. You discover your true purpose. Earlier in the video, I mentioned that while practicing NoFap, you have an excessive amount of energy available to you, and that I realized that this sexual energy was actually my own life force. Once I realized this, I also realized that the more life force I had, the easier it would be to understand myself. To better understand this, I want you to picture your sexual energy like a battery that keeps you moving throughout the day. But when you jerk off and finish, you drain your battery, which then has to recharge over time again. But while practicing NoFap, your battery is always at 100%, if not above 100%. And because of this, more of you is present. And because of this constant presence, you can more easily answer the big questions we all ask. Like, what do I want to do with my life? Who do I want to become? What is the point of my existence? What are the things I love and value? These are really big questions that most people struggle to answer their whole lives. But on NoFap, after a bit of soul searching and learning about myself, I was able to answer these questions confidently. And almost 10 years later, although I don't practice NoFap anymore, the answers have not once changed. In fact, they've only evolved into deeper and deeper expressions of the same answer I came to almost 10 years ago. People always talk about NoFap giving you tons of benefits, and I have to agree. I definitely don't think I would be here today if I didn't practice it for as long as I did. But this right here, in my opinion, and I'm sure most people would agree, is the #1 benefit you will receive on your NoFap journey. Because discovering your true purpose is a blessing I hope all of you will be able to experience. And once you discover it, it will destroy everything and anything that is not in alignment with it in your life. Personally, once I discovered my true purpose, everything started to fall into place, and I was finally able to figure out the direction I wanted to move my life in. And although it hasn't been easy, I'm extremely happy with where I am in my life today. And I just say all this to show that you guys can do the same thing. So if you want to destroy your current life and create a whole new one, NoFap is exactly what you need to do it. Now, at this point of the video, I know you want to hear more about NoFap and the benefits you're going to experience on it. So if you didn't click the card I talked about at the start of this video, I highly recommend you watch this video next, where I talk about the 6 secrets I learned from 3 years of NoFap and semen retention. And if you did watch that video already, remember to subscribe to my channel, because I'll 100% be making more videos on NoFap in the future. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Love you guys. Peace.